Hi guys, and welcome to Hillside Talks. I am Maria, and I'm very happy that you've decided to join me on this little corner of the world where we talk about everything simple living, slowing down, how we relate to tech, sustainability, and a lot more. And I want to start off this episode by asking you guys, when was the last time you tried something new? Like learned a new skill or tried a new sport, maybe learned a new language. I love trying new things, and there's just something in setting out into something that you haven't tried before and thinking, I wonder if I can actually pull this off. That is just kind of exciting to me. So more on that later. As some of you guys might know, I have set myself a goal to try to make 80 to maybe 90% of my clothes myself. I don't know what's going to be realistic, but it's a really good challenge and it keeps pushing me to try new things that I've never done before. And I desperately need a new pair of pants, so I have decided that now is the time to just rip off the band-aid and try to sew an entire pair of pants. And we're not talking like elasticated waistbands like PJ bottoms and stuff like that. I have made that before. We're talking like pleated pants, trousers with pockets and a zip and all of that. And I'm going to be completely honest, pants scare me a little bit. Just like jackets, because there is a zip and there are buttons and everything has to line up. But I just have to get started. As long as I get started, I'm pretty sure that I can pull through. I found a few YouTube videos that I'm going to rely on for kind of the instructions and guidance. And as usual, I am self-drafting the pattern, which is not exactly making this whole project easier, but doing it that way, I just know that I'll get a finished product that fits me, and then I'll have the pattern for later. Drafting the pattern is going to take longer and is going to be a more complicated process, so I'm not exactly making it easier for myself, but I found some YouTube videos that I'm pretty sure that if I follow along with those, like the order of what to do next, then I'm pretty sure that it'll work out. It is an extra challenge to draft the pattern myself, but this is also one way that I really want to stay sharp, you could say, because I did go to design school. I do know how to draft basic patterns, so I want to keep that skill alive. And that is also a big motivation for me in setting myself this challenge, that I want to keep those skills. I don't want to have studied for a year trying all kinds of techniques and then completely forget about it and never use it. When it comes to trying new things, honestly, sometimes I feel like I'm the right person to talk about this because I love, as I mentioned, starting new things. I am very curious, and I'm married to Morten, who is probably even crazier than me in this. So I definitely have a lot of experience with it. At the same time, sometimes I also feel like I'm not the right person to talk about this topic at all. And I don't doubt my ability in doing a project. I actually don't. I usually finish whatever I set my mind to doing. And then if I fail the first attempt, I just do it again and again and again. And at some point, my brain and my hands work together and I actually come up with a finished product. For me, I actually more doubt my energy, my physical and mental capacity in whether I can see it through. And that has a lot to do with the physical struggles that I have, that I've shared about before. And I'm not sharing this to whine. I'm sharing this to be honest, that we all have our limitations. And that is normal and that is okay. I have previously been very encouraged by Liz Bohannon in her book Beginner's Pluck, It is so funny. It's one of the books that I recommend you listen to on audiobook because she is such a fun communicator. And listening to her read out loud her book is kind of like listening to a 6-hour long podcast episode. It's really fun. She has some great insight and she talks about owning your average. And I love that idea. It is so beautiful and it's so realistic at the same time. She talks a lot about how culture is actually teaching us that being average is depressing and how that is not the reality, because in reality, we are all pretty average. You might excel at something, but then you might be pretty bad at something else. At least that's how it is for me. And in general, it makes us all pretty average. But then owning your average is a freeing thing, and I think it's great. So I want to read a little quote from her book. It's probably a bit more than a quote, but this is like the summed up epitome of what it is that she is talking about. And I cannot do Liz Bohannon justice of trying to read this out loud in the same hilarious way that she does, but here goes nothing. She says, "Let me be very clear. Owning your average is not a call for complacency. Don't you dare own your average so that you can stay there, or so that you can be content with an average life void of passion, purpose, connection, or deep meaning. Own your average so that you can free yourself up from the junk sucking all of the energy you spend trying to figure out how you measure up. And instead, channel that energy into becoming an interested, curious dreamer-doer who believe that truly extraordinary stories and lives can be built by the average us." I don't know about you, but that is very freeing to me. We all have talents and skills that we can develop and dive into. We all have ideas to live out, curiosities that we need to follow, or maybe experiments to begin. The baseline is we can all learn new things. And in my experience, when we do find the courage to start something new or just get off the couch and get going, we will most likely end up feeling better. Because the project might fail, the likelihood of it is smaller. It might end up mediocre, but you also might succeed. But no matter how it turns out, you are going to feel great for trying and for accomplishing something. And for just the fact of turning an idea into reality. And that goes for whether it's solo travel, that's your dream, and that is what you need to get moving on, or whether it's a physical product that you want to develop, or something you want to make for yourself, like I like making my clothes. It will most likely not be all unicorns and rainbows. But cherish what the experience taught you. And take that with you. Challenging ourselves and then following through makes us feel accomplished and can start a real positive ripple effect in our lives and mindsets. I can do challenging things. And it can be fun. Trying new things can be scary, and I'll most likely end up feeling like a fool at some point, or wonder, why did I ever start this project? And of course, there's a big difference in whether what you're wanting to start is a new business or a new knitting project. I fully recognize that. But the muscle that we need to get started is the same. So every time we practice in our day-to-day life to actually step into those new things and try new things, we are giving that muscle a workout, and it will really benefit us when we want to get moving on bigger things. And they don't seem as scary because we know that we can do new things. And there's also just the fact of regularly challenging ourselves to doing something new and mastering something new. It opens up a new part of our brains. We gain new knowledge. We learn about a material, or we might learn about some different techniques. And in my experience, that has been so eye-opening that every time I dive into a new area, it feels like bigger possibilities open up. Because when you understand how to work with wood, then you know what you can actually build. Or if you start to get into working with iron or metals or silver, stuff like that, you get to learn how to cast silver or work with metals and what they can do and how they bend, and maybe welding. And it might also be with something more soft like knitting or sewing, that every time I practice a new technique, I'm like, oh, I can apply this in this way. And I feel a lot more confident now when I'm knitting. So if I'm trying a pattern that I don't fully understand, I know enough that I can kind of wing it through it. And that is just a lot of experiences. It gives, like, it kind of builds that backbone of walking with my back straight into things and with more confidence. And this is the same thing whether we're talking baking, sports, biking, language, welding, building, writing, or coding. It all helps us open up to new possibilities, and that, I think, is the greatest gift of trying something new. So until next time, I'm curious, what do you want to try? Do you have a project lying around that you might actually start? I'm talking to myself here as well. I need this as well. I like starting new things, but it's also always challenging, and I can get in the exact same mental roadblocks as anyone else. Please let me know down in the comments what project you will want to try out, and I would love to cheer you on. I love hearing from you guys, so it really means a lot when you put something down in the comments. And if you're on Spotify and listening there, I know you can comment as well. So that's a new feature that they opened up, and I cannot wait to hear from you guys.